Emmanuel. Welcome to PAI.
Thank you.
It's so nice to have you in our office here in Washington, D.C. You've been a wonderful, relatively new partner of PAI, although you and I have known each other, what, shall we disclose our age? I don't know. It's been probably a good 10, 15 years working on agriculture programs and young people. So what brings you to D.C.?
Well, thank you very much. It's been a great honor, a privilege for me to be in D.C. and to be in the beautiful office of PAI. Youth Advocate Ghana works broadly on issues of young people, and my visit to DC basically is to connect with the community and establish useful partnership that will allow us to scale up the work that we do at Youth Advocate Ghana. And it's been a great privilege, a real honor for me to be in this process and meeting wonderful people from the office here and also from other meetings that I've been a part of.
Emmanuel, you started Youth Advocates Ghana. You also host the SDG, is it the SDG Summit for the region? Yeah. So what inspired you to go down this career path and creating Youth Advocates Ghana and doing all the work that you do to not just advance sexual and reproductive health and rights, but the priorities of young people?
Right, so prior to starting Youth Advocate Ghana, I was a school teacher. And the experience that I generated from the classroom and my interaction with the children inspired me to start Youth Advocate Ghana because they were issues related to sexual violence, child abuse within the school system. And I thought that those things must change. And so that was how Youth Advocate Ghana began. So we began in the school system trying to raise awareness on child abuse, sexual violence against children. And then we realized that the issues were much more beyond the school. And so the agency for the establishment of the organization was something that we envisioned. And then we broadly designed it not only for the school system, but to be a national organization impacting children and young people across Ghana. And like you rightly indicated, the organization has evolved over the past 12 years of establishment, and we have a national reach and also regional programs that we are running. We run the Continental African Youth Summit, which is an incredible platform for young people to connect, to learn about the Sustainable Development Goals, and how they can contribute actively within their own spaces, and also to hold government accountable to the commitment made to the SDGs.
So, Emmanuel, the work, as you said, it's been at a subnational level, it's at a national level. You also do work regionally. Let's talk a little bit about Ghana and the needs of young people as they relate to their sexual and reproductive health and rights. I know that there's so many priorities, right? And there's so much urgency there, but what do you see as 1, 2, or 3 major gaps that are getting in the way of ensuring that young people who are growing also into adulthood have access to sexual and reproductive health and that they know their rights? Right.
So I think for Ghana, it's a very useful country, about 38% of the population under the age of 25, and so which represents both opportunities and challenges. We see a lot of school drops out among young people, especially girls who drop out of school due to early pregnancy. So that is a very important challenge. We also have economic challenges. There are many young people who have graduated from either high school or universities and do not have any jobs opportunities, and therefore make them a bit more vulnerable to issues of health, reproductive health in particular. We also see child marriage to be on the rise, despite the work that has been done in the past. We still, in communities that child marriage is still a big issue. It's a challenge where girls are married off at an early age, and the impact is very enormous in terms of the benefit, the negative impact on the girl child and the prospect for future growth and development.
So one of the things I've been talking with many of our partners about is not just the influence of U.S. action. As you may be aware, the constitutional right to an abortion was removed last year, but also of this what is definitely an anti-rights movement in the United States, questioning everything from sexuality, comprehensive sexuality education in schools, to access to contraceptives, to attacks on the LGBTQIA plus community. And, I'm curious, also knowing, of course, that the US anti-rights movement is also funding opposition and anti-rights efforts in other countries around the world. Do you see any of that rhetoric and those actions to try and derail sexual and reproductive health access in Ghana among young people? Do you see that infusion of ideology and values that are not in support of agency and autonomy coming into the culture and the community?
Right. In recent times, I think 2 years ago, when Ghana was at the verge of introducing the comprehensive sexuality education program in schools, there were a lot of backlash, public outcry in terms of whether this is culturally related to Ghana. And I must say that a lot of progress has been made even after this incident of public debate about the issue. Currently, there is also a bill in Parliament which is trying to decriminalize or to criminalize the process. Maybe that's the way to say it. And I think there have been a series of debates, national debates, consensus around how do we address the issues of sexual and reproductive health challenges among young people. I know that it's a very sensitive topic, particularly from the context of Ghana and the kind of political atmosphere that we have. And if you look at the ongoing debates around it, it can be very polarizing sometimes. And these debates are extremely unhealthy for us as a country to begin to, look at what is it that we want. How do we ensure that girls, young people in this context are able to access information and also services that are related to their rights? I know that it is a very important subject because it is the dream of every parent to see the child progresses in school, to go to high school, to go to college or university and become productive. And whatever will deprive children of this benefit is something that we as a society, we are very much concerned about. And I think that it is a concern of everyone to make sure that we can protect the children and make sure that they can pursue their dreams in fullness, regardless of the circumstances that they find themselves in. Now, it's a very, very sensitive, a very difficult question, I must put it that way.
Yeah, and this piece on the lives and the aspirations of young people. I often say, and I often question, why is it that others are so interested in deciding for us, in telling us what they believe is right and wrong, and so on and so forth. And I think it comes down to, what is it that young people want?
Yes,
what is it that women want?
Exactly.
What is it that at-risk communities want? And what is it that young people want from that perspective? If we were to move out the parliamentarians, if we were to move out the religious ideology, the cultural realities, put that aside. What is it that young people want in terms of their rights and their agency in Ghana?
I think for someone who have been working with young people, I would tell you that Ghanaian young people are very, very proactive to issues. They are very visionary. They think about their society, and they want to make sure that they can grow to become very productive citizens. They are people with aspirations, thinking about the future they want for themselves. You meet young people and they tell you about their dreams. I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to do this, I want to do that. All of these aspirations are things that drive us as a people. And as a young advocate, I believe that it's just important that we provide the enabling environment for these young people to thrive in whatever field they want to thrive in, whether it's in the health sector, whether it's in the education or health, economic, whatever sector they desire to thrive. It's important that nothing is depriving them of that opportunity. And I do know that when it comes to sexual and reproductive health issues, once you get pregnant at a very young age, chances are that those dreams will never come to pass. And for us, that is our concern, that we can create society that will allow young people to thrive regardless of the circumstances and where they come from. They will be able to thrive in their fields of interest, and that nothing will come in between these aspirations and dreams that they have. And so I know that it is equally a priority for the Ghana Education Service, the Ghana Health Service, and the government of Ghana in this context to also safeguard the future and making sure that children can pursue their dreams. Mm-hmm. Children should not be subject of marriage, should not be subject of, undecided, pregnancy, should be free to decide on the kind of future they want for themselves.
So important that they decide the future that they want for themselves, and we need to be responsive to that. Mm-hmm. Which brings me to this wonderful engagement that we have with Youth Advocates Ghana. As we were talking earlier, PAI has an incredible network of local civil society organizations. We're a CSO ourselves, going back over 5 decades, and the organizations that we're actively working with, over 70 local organizations in more than 30 countries. That extended network is 1,800 local civil society and youth-led organizations in over 70 countries. And of course, Youth Advocates Ghana is part of that network. I'd love for you to share how we're working together, in particular on the specific program that we're collaborating on in Ghana.
So Youth Advocates Ghana is privileged to be a part of the Youth for Global Financing Facility program in Ghana, where we are working with young people to empower them on the Ghana investment case and to ensure that their voices influence or contribute to the national processes. I must say that it is a great opportunity for us to learn from our peers, around the world who are also doing similar program. It's also an opportunity for us to network with a broader, community of organizations that PAI works with. And for us, it is a learning curve, a learning journey for us, because as a youth-led organization, we want to make sure that we are not only working locally, but our work also impacts regionally and globally. And being part of this global community, we emphasize our organization's journey and priority. And I think that it's critical in forging new partnerships, in learning from colleagues and working on a common agenda to make our world a better place, a common agenda to ensure that young people are meaningfully engaging in national processes, and that they have a say, they have contributions to make when it comes to decisions that affect their lives, their future, and their very well-being. And so YAG is privileged, and we thank you very much for the opportunity to be engaged on this project.
Well, you don't have to thank me, and no thanks is needed, because I have to tell you, for PAI to be part of this network as well, the experiences from our partners, the perspectives also inform and fuel our advocacy. We wouldn't be able to do our work effectively without also bringing forward the experiences, the perspectives, the expertise that organizations like YAG has. That fuels our advocacy, holding our government accountable, making sure that sexual and reproductive health remains a policy priority, a funding priority, and it also fuels our global advocacy. It's always important. We want to be lockstep with our partners, and I know vice versa. So for us to have a coordinated collective approach, I think, is ultimately what's going to move the needle on ensuring that people get the health care that they want, including sexual and reproductive health care.
Absolutely.
As a leader of not only your organization, but in this space, in this sector, tell me from more of an organizational development lens, what are some of the needs for us to sustain this movement, for you to sustain your organization? Talk to us a little bit about that beyond the support for programming.
I think institutional development is a critical component of every organization. And for us at Youth Advocates Ghana, we approach this with agency. I must say that if you consider the civil society landscape in Africa, and particularly for youth-led organizations, we will say that our contribution to the regional global agenda has been very paramount. However, when it comes to institutional support, issues that have to do with institutional capacity, ensuring that youth-led organizations are well positioned in a manner that allows them to be more efficient in the work that they do. I know that COVID has taught us a series of lessons about how to become more robust as an organization, and that is very critical. That even as we provide programmatic support, we look at how do we transition youth-led organizations to be more robust in their thinking, in their institution itself, the kind of tools that are needed, technological tools, that are needed to position these organizations, what kind of expertise that are needed institutionally, in the area of policy engagement, advocacy, generating our own evidence. How do we ensure that what we are doing at the grassroots level, the learnings that we are generating, are contributing to the global discourse on institutional sustainability and all of that. I do know also there's also an issue of transitioning, for instance. When I was here, I met one Ghanaian who also started a youth organization some years back. And one of the things that we talked about was that when he transitioned from the organization as the head, the organization could not sustainably run its program. And that is a serious concern, that not only do we provide funding support, but there should also be systemic support to ensure that organizations can transition. Youth Advocate Ghana is equally looking at transitioning very soon. And how does that look like for us? How do our partners, our donors see that kind of transitioning? Are they willing to invest into that process just to ensure that we don't lose memory, we don't lose technical expertise, and that whoever transitions from the organization does not go with the organizational memory and all of that. So these are very, very critical, especially as we march towards 2030 and beyond. There's a need to ensure that local organizations sustain their programs, they sustain their personnel, they have the kind of working environment that will engineer creative thinking. They have the kind of tools that will allow them to be more efficient in the work that they do. And social media, new media is emerging strongly. How are we taking advantage of that? What kind of tools do we need to make our work more efficient? So these are emerging concerns. These are emerging recommendations that youth organizations are calling for.
Well, it definitely resonates. I mean, as I said, we've been at this for 58 years, and the need and the work remains. In fact, we need to expand this movement, and beyond that, we need to sustain it, to your point.
Yeah.
That we can't lose the institutional, historical information. We need to continue to build that capacity. So I appreciate your perspective and your points of view. There's certainly the same kinds of things that we are elevating at PAI. It's not just about a program for 2 years or for 1 year. It's about how are our partners, our donors, our fellow advocates, how are we together ensuring that organizations that are doing great work, holding governments accountable, are being not just the voice of the community, but also the eyes of the community. Absolutely. That work continues. Emmanuel, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your time. I'm so happy that we could get space together.
It's a great honor. Thank you.
Thank you.